Hey, Trickfix, welcome back. Today what I'm going to be doing is replacing my old pan gasket. I replaced it about 3-4 years ago, but I didn't torque it right, so it's leaking like a sieve, and I'm paying for the price now because it's 30 degrees outside. Steve Robb had mentioned to go look at that, D-Ray Smith's video on the oil pump. Great video. I didn't know about that relief valve, so I'm going to try and take that relief valve and suck that piston out with a magnet and clean that up. But Chevy had put in a bulletin that the O-ring for that inlet tube, if that's cracked or split at all, you get a similar engine knock. So I have that O-ring as well in the pan gasket. But there's one thing that you don't have to take the front differential out. You just got to loosen the bolts and put a jack underneath it and lower it a couple inches, and then you're able to slide the oil pan out of there. So let me get the camera situated, and let's begin. First thing you gotta do is take off the skid plate with a 15 millimeter socket. Next, you gotta take off these 4 bolts that is connecting this support arm underneath the oil pan. They are bolts and nuts, 18 millimeter. They look like this. Put the nut back on the bolt. Throw it in my bucket of bolts. These bolts are longer, so you just slide them out. They look like that. And just take your as you can see, this thing is leaking pretty good. It's leaking in the middle and the front, all over the place. I pulled this off and looked up at my main seal, and it seemed dry. We can take a better look at it. Straighten the oil, see what that looks like. This is like the 4th time I've done an oil change. 6 chunks are starting to come out of here. All right, stick the over at the starter side. You got to disconnect your electrical here. Just put a screwdriver in there, pry the tab open. And then here you have a... what is this, 10 millimeter? You got to remove this from your starter. Last time I think I just shoved it, move this plastic cover so it gets out of the way. As I remember, the pan drops and goes to the driver's side. There's another little 13 millimeter bolt up here. You got to take off to get rid of the plastic cover. And this little cover comes off. Up here, you got some coolant lines you got to take off this bracket. This bracket needs to come off. It just rests on top of the rests on top of there. You'll know when it's loose. Next, you got to disconnect your electrical for what is this? 21 millimeter. It's just got these 2 bolts right here. And I'm not wearing gloves because I don't want to get dirty. It's 8 freaking degrees. One more. You got the bolt here that's connected to this support arm. I left the support arm in there last time, and it just lowers the transfer case. Lowers the transfer case about 2 inches, and then it will rest on here. I have a jack underneath the transfer case as well. All right, let me unscrew the rest of these bolts and let's took off the front drive shaft. And I've been messing with this for about an hour. I won't lie to you, it's a little tough. But I got the front differential low enough where I think I could slip this out. It is so close. I don't remember this fighting me as much as this did before. I remember just sliding right out. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. That is out of there. That only took an hour. All right, the gasket looks pretty good. The sealant I may have put a little too much on. There's some high points here. But, yeah, I don't know. You know, there's always a fine line. I took the 4 bolts off, take this cover off. And, you know, I cleaned this 2 years ago, if not 3. So there's... it should be pretty clean in here, but there's a bunch of sludge in here. You know, I changed my oil at least 4 times in the past 6 weeks, and engine cleaned it all up. So I got some pretty good sludge down here. It's pretty thick. As you can see, I'm really pulling out some pretty good sludge out of the bottom of here. That engine flush stuff really works, and I don't know, this is it's pretty thick. That's good. You know, I like to clean things, so... Alright, well, here are the bolts. They look pretty good. You know, I was thinking about putting Loctite on these, and I asked Splunkert about it, and he gave it a thumbs up, but you know what, I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm just gonna clean these, let these soak in seafoam overnight, and then clean those holes out real good, and I should be all good to go. Okay, well, I got the oil pan all nice and clean, so I'm just gonna put the gasket on now. Okay, well, I got my bolts all nice and clean, and when I was examining the long one, you can see the one on the left here, it's skinny at this point. I think I probably over-tightened it the last time I put this in. I called Chevy, but nobody has these, so I'm just going to put them in, and then when the two bolts come in, I'm just going to pop them out and replace them. But check your bolts. Well, as you can see, my flywheel is nice and dry, so that's a great sign. That means my rear seal isn't leaking. Okay, you really can't see it. I can't get the cam in there, but there's a 10 millimeter nut up there you got to take out. Okay, and then you got two 13 millimeter nuts holding the inlet tube on. All right, and this tube should just pop right off. There's the O-ring. That's huge. It's a lot bigger than the one I got, I think. Okay, while I'm in here, I'm just going to take off this deflector, oil deflector shield, and clean it, and we can look to see what's inside there. They're just 13 millimeter nuts. It's dirty. Okay, here's where the oil inlet pipe goes into the pump. As you can see, it's a little dirty up there. I think I'm going to spray some B12 on Q-tips and clean it. There's the camshaft. As you can see, there's a little bit of wear and tear on those things, but it's not that bad. Overall, for 206,000 miles, I think it's all right. You know, the pistons here. Pistons look all right. A little movement in here. It's probably normal, though. What's that called? Lash. 206,000 miles, you know. Can't expect it to be perfect. The inlet tube doesn't look that bad. It is stretched out, though. As you can tell, the old from the new one. The new one's smaller. So I'm just going to clean all this up and clean that oil deflector pan as well. All right, this is about as clean as I can get this thing. Let's put some oil on this O-ring here. Get it all nice and lubed up. Put a little oil around here. Give this thing a fighting chance. All right, well, that's done. This is pretty much as clean as I'm going to get it. Looks good. I made sure all the little holes in here where the oil flows through are all clean. So let's go put this thing back together again. Okay, well, I cleaned the engine a little bit. I didn't spray anything up there. I just cleaned up the oil pump here. There's still a little bit of microscopic stuff up there. I can't get it out, but I also cleaned out these thread holes. I sprayed them in with cleaner and then put one of my brushes up there like here comes the deflector pan. I just squirted a bunch of oil inside the oil pump. Okay, now these nuts are 18 foot-pounds. I really can't get the cam in there. Can't see this. What I'm doing is I'm just slipping in there, and I'm going to put the nuts on loosely so it kind of holds it. They say to push it in all the way in and tighten it up. it kind of clicked when I went in there. This inch pounds only goes in like 3 increments, so it's either 105 or 108. So I'm going to do 108. They're a little tighter than a little looser, I guess. Alright, let's put some ATV. I don't know why you want to call it ATV. What the hell is this called? Alright, let's put some of this little silicone crap in the corners here like they suggested. Well, this is my 3rd attempt. That little idea I had of gluing the gasket onto the pan didn't work. I remember that falling off last time. It's in there. Get my fucking electrical line out of the way here. Alright. Let's get it sit right. Alright, excellent. Excellent, excellent. Is that good? That's good. Alright, so wires. Oh, it's that fucking whatever the fuck that is. It goes right there. Alright, so I have everything hand tightened, all the screws in. Now I need to check the gap in between the bell housing and the oil pan. It says the acceptable gap is 0.010. Now over here, I'm fine. I'm not getting through, but when I get to the center, it just goes in. You know, it 10 goes in and 11 doesn't. So what they say is just tighten this nut just a little bit and bring it in, you know. And there we go. We're all good. Okay, let's start torquing. Okay, I'm a little bit confused. They say 89 inch-pounds and then 18 foot-pounds, so I'm thinking it's just 2 passes. I don't know. You start out on the number 1. Alright, I just did the first pass, and now I'm doing the second pass at 18 foot-pounds. Let me double check this. Fucking in there. Splunker's not gonna like this, man. He had a good video on this torque stuff. And I know this calculation is completely wrong. Alright, got it. Sorry, Splunker. It's too cold to go look at your video and figure that out. Okay, we got it all torqued down. Now all we have to do is the back 2, which I believe are at 106 inch-pounds. I'm going to double check that. Alright, we got everything torqued down. Well, let me put everything back together again here, and let's throw some oil in it. And alright, there you go. You know, that was kind of a pain in the ass. The weather was in single digits, but I just powered through it and got it done. I don't think I could have done it any more by the book than that. So if that thing leaks again, it will leak to the day I die, because I don't think I'm going to do that again. The only thing that went wrong is I ran over my cam wire and I had to splice 5 wires together, and that was it. So hopefully everything works out. I'm going to let the silicone set up, and then I'll put oil in it tomorrow and fire her up. And if anything leaks, I'll leave it in the description. But I just want to thank everybody for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe and like, and I will see you on the next round.